Okay, looks like we have a lot of people here, 40 of you, so I'm going to get started. For anyone who's coming in late, we're going to record this, so don't worry. If you miss anything in the beginning, I'll make sure to post the recording later. Hi, guys. So I'm Chris. I'm the new community manager here. And I just wanted to take a little while to introduce myself, talk a little bit about my background, recap NFT NYC, which was this past week, talk a little bit about some community updates, and then also open up the floor for you guys to ask questions. So I think what we're gonna do is I'm gonna give some updates first. I'll talk a little bit about myself and some of the plans that we have coming up. And then in the back half of the meeting, we'll open up the floor for anyone who wants to ask questions. And in the meantime, if anyone wants to chat or, maybe you don't want to speak up and you want to ask a question, you can go ahead and ask that in the general chat. I'll be keeping an eye on that chat as well, just to, answer any questions as they come. And yeah, I think we can get started. So like I said, I'm Chris, the new community manager here. I've been working in the crypto and DeFi space for a few years now. And all across all types of different projects. So from 2 DeFi projects that I worked on a blockchain based project. I've worked with fintech based companies. I've worked on 2 different GameFi based video games, and then also another NFT project as well. So when it comes to kind of experience in the cryptocurrency space, I've definitely been here for a while. I've been trading and participating in crypto for at least since 2017, maybe before that. And, working in the space has been an awesome opportunity for me to just kind of make a lot of connections with other developers or other builders in this space and, talk to a lot of projects as well. I almost forgot to mention, I'm actually calling in from New York. So I'm from New York City, born and raised here. I would love to hear where you guys are from. Feel free to post in the chat where you're calling in from, so we can get a little bit of a view of where our community is based. I'd love to see what cities you guys are kind of located in. So like I said, I'm here in New York City. As far as my formal educational background, I have a bachelor's in computer information systems, so very similar to CS, but a little bit more data oriented. So that's kind of where I come from a technical background. And then, really my goal here is to help you guys, help the community grow, create an atmosphere where everyone who's here in the Discord or following us on Twitter can feel free to, reach out, learn about the project, invite their friends or, other communities that they're in to kind of come and take a look at UnUniFi and just, open up that doorway to create a easy and comfortable environment for, all NFT users to be able to learn about the platform, be able to participate in the platform successfully. And again, to raise that community atmosphere, increase engagement, help the project to gain new users, really get the word out there, especially when it comes to nftfi. One of the things that we have to keep in mind is that it's actually a growing space here in the United States. So nftfi is brand new. It's not something that's well established over here. And so a lot of NFT projects or NFT holders are not actually familiar with nftfi, right? So when you talk to them about UnUniFi as a platform, they tend to, be a little confused and also have a lot of questions. So my goal is to always make sure that, any questions that come up, we can always answer, and then B, make a welcoming experience for all of those new people. Even talking about Cosmos, for example, Cosmos is not very popular over here. So when you talk to regular, crypto enthusiasts or other users, and you talk about Cosmos and you talk about the IBC and the advantages of building your blockchain on the Cosmos SDK, that's also pretty new uh, as well, right? There's not a large adoption, right? A lot of NFT users here are very Ethereum based and Ethereum project oriented. And so actually being able to educate users on the advantages of using Cosmos, of using that SDK. Again, something else that we can do with this platform and also with this audience, right? And my goal here is, let's say you want to go speak to maybe one of your friends who is also an NFT holder and NFT user active in the crypto space, right? So that you have the skills to teach them about the UnUniFi platform as well, so that you know or have the confidence to kind of be able to explain or talk in a little more detail about the advantages of UnUniFi as a project, so that they can come on board and kind of again join the Discord and learn a little bit more and get interested in what we're building over here. Just checking the chat here. No, I have not ever visited Turkey, but I would love to. That sounds awesome. And data analyst. Yeah, pretty much. That's a lot of where my background comes from, is data analysis. So, we talked a little bit about that community aspect. I'm going to touch upon that in a little bit. And we're going to also talk about the community program and some changes that are going to be coming to the community program. But for now, I actually wanted to talk a little bit about NFT NYC. So NFT NYC was last week, and it's about 3 days is the formal event, but really there are events that you can attend all week. Now, it's an interesting mix, because when you go to these types of events, and I don't know if any of you in the audience here have been to a crypto-based conference or an NFT-based conference before, but generally speaking, the main events, which are formally, either educational functions or different projects talking about their upcoming platforms, just education in the space, or, different updates. Separately from that, there's a lot of events where you can network with other projects and other users. There's a lot of users going to the NFT space. So not only do you get to get the opinion of developers, but you also get to get the opinion of users in the NFT space as well. People who are, big blue chip holders are the ones who are also attending this event. So, I had the pleasure of going to a lot of these events and networking and, meeting up with some people that I've met before, some connections that I've had from some of my older projects, and, discussing with them the advantages of nftfi and, some of what's being built over here on the UnUniFi protocol. But then I also got to speak to end users as well, talk to real life blue chip holders, and, get their opinion on nftfi, explain the technology to them in a way that makes sense so that they can see the value behind it, right? And like I said, here in the United States and even at NFT NYC, nftfi is a new concept. It's a growing concept, right? When we talk about DeFi or GameFi, those are concepts that users in crypto are pretty familiar with. And I would say GameFi specifically, more recently, is a concept that people are a little newer to, but we're seeing a lot of projects in the GameFi space being built and developed where they are, incorporating these new DeFi protocols in a fun and easy to use platform. When we talk about nftfi, right, that's where, users get confused because there's an ownership aspect to it. It's very different than, playing a game, participating in regular DeFi. And so a lot of users can be hesitant towards nftfi as a new technology, right? Whenever a new technology comes out, generally speaking, the main users at first are maybe a little apprehensive towards it or a little hesitant because they don't have enough knowledge. They just don't know enough about this state of the technology or the capabilities of the technology as well. That was really interesting. It was really insightful to not only educate people and talk about the advantages, but then also, kind of get people on board with this idea of this new, emerging technology, at least here in the United States, so that as these platforms are being built, as UnUniFi is being built, it's something that they've heard of and it's something that they're interested in. So we had the opportunity to get that, and we also had the opportunity to speak to a lot of developers. A lot of developers in the NFT space who are creating their own unique platforms, creating various platforms for all different types of NFT utility, right? We got to meet with real estate projects who were using tokenized incentives to allow real estate loanership, right? As this word is, instead of lending and ownership, it's loanership was the word. And so, essentially, instead of a traditional apartment rental or something like that, using the blockchain to create contracts, to create these rental contracts, and then using NFTs to represent physical pairs to real estate properties. We saw all types of creative projects that some of which were actually interested in working with UnUniFi. So we are exploring some of those partnerships, right? We met a couple of US-based projects. We even met a Japan-based project, which was funny because they were pretty big in the space. They hold a lot of in-person events in Japan for not only NFT creators, but also for NFT-based developers. And not only had we not heard of them, but they hadn't heard about UnUniFi. And so that was an awesome connection for us to make, because now we can go and explore that partnership and maybe attend some of those events in person for some of the Japan-based team members. When it comes to getting feedback from developers, right, that's really where you can test your protocol against knowledgeable users in the space, right? There was this really interesting interaction you have when I can talk for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes about the technology and the way the protocol works and the tech behind the UnUniFi platform. And the developers understand every part of the way, right? They understand what you're building, the reason behind why this platform is being built, and they're able to ask some of these questions that regular users might not even think to ask, right? So almost in a way, it's kind of like they're challenging you to work harder or to create a better protocol or to create a better platform. And it was this real, communal experience, a big community where the developers are very supportive of each other, but also very interested in making sure that the technology is rock solid. For example, we told them about the alpha testnet, and we told them about kind of the development process that we've been going through, in which, we're ensuring the solidity of this platform and making sure that it's rock solid as we add to it and expand the services until the platform is fully functional, right? And so this incremental or step-by-step approach was one that was really interesting as well for other developers to see us take, right? Because, again, it's kind of like double checking everything along the way to ensure that when your product is ready for public usage, it's the best possible product that you could release. Just checking in the chat here real quick. Best way to educate these people. In some ways, incentive is great because, people like to get incentivized, right? When you look at airdrops as an incentive to participate in a testnet, right? Or when you look at giveaways or other promotional opportunities that are created to kind of create that exposure, a lot of people tend to participate in that. But I think also another way to educate these people is to give them a value proposition, right? And essentially, what you're doing is you're providing them, you're proposing something that's going to be useful to them, a platform that they can actually use, right? So your value proposal is, I'm working on this platform, or we're creating this technology that isn't very popular, doesn't exist really, and is going to have a ton of utility and benefits to the general NFT user. And when you explain that to them, that's when they start to get interested. When I tell someone, look, you can access the liquidity of your blue chip and still retain ownership over it. For someone who hasn't heard about nftfi before, they're immediately interested in that aspect, right? They're like, wow, this is a great idea. I kind of want to do that. Uh, and so that's like that first foot in the door where you create a value proposition, and then you tell them why your platform, right? And that also tends to get people interested as well, right? There's a value proposition behind every aspect of a successful product, and what creates adoption, or what creates, you know, widespread usage of that platform, is not only its ease of access, but its ease of utility. Now, in all of that feedback from developers, again, we were kind of able to take some of that and talk it through with the team, and generally assess whether the current goals of the core team were in line with some of the feedback the developers were getting, and be able to take that into consideration, right? To get that honest feedback from other projects was really valuable. Now, one of the things I also mentioned about NFT NYC was just some of those connections and partnerships that we're exploring that we were able to build. Um, I'm not going to list any names at the moment, but we met with a ton of projects that were not only building technology for the NFT space that could be of interest to partner with. We also went with NFT project creators who might be interested in using the platform to exhibit their own NFT projects, right? And create, potential exposure on our platform. And so that's something that was really valuable as well. And then we also met with a couple of venture capital firms as well, and kind of, explained the project to them, talked a little bit about the value proposition behind UnUniFi. So really, again, just a really great experience from, kind of having boots on the ground, doing that old-fashioned style networking. One of the things that I learned, especially in attending, all of these crypto-based conferences, for example, this year, we went to, at least I attended South by Southwest. I also attended Consensus. This is NFT NYC that we just came up, and then there's a couple of events later this year that I'm also going to for, blockchain development, NFT platforms. So, when you tend to go to these conferences, not only do you kind of meet new people every time you go, but one of the things that you learn really quickly is that there's nothing that beats old-fashioned networking, right? This idea that, like, I can reach out to hundreds of people on Twitter, but if I meet a project creator or a developer in person, shaking their hand and talking to them in person is going to be immensely more valuable every single time. And that's how you create those real connections. You kind of spread the word in real time to these people, right? You make an impression. So again, something that was just a really overall valuable experience for us. Now, if you guys had any questions about NFT NYC, feel free to ask away. Otherwise, one of the other things that I wanted to talk about was the upcoming changes to the community program. So again, remember, one of my goals here is to help incentivize community participation. And in doing so, we have to remember that in early stages, project is only as successful as its community. When you're this early into the process, generally speaking, a project tends to rely on the word of mouth, but also, again, that knowledge that its users have and the passion that the community has as well. And so in doing so, we're looking at ways to incentivize the community program and, kind of create additional participation amongst the members, right? We might have thousands and thousands of members in the Discord and, on Twitter, but if there's only 50 of us who are truly passionate about the project, it makes it much harder, right? And so it goes back to that idea of incentivizing active participation, incentivizing people to kind of be able to feel empowered to represent their project, feel strong enough to be able to kind of come in and want to spread the word about UnUniFi. And so an easy way to do that is to create clear rules, clear understanding for, how your participation or how your, activity is going to be rewarded, right? Again, people respond really well to incentivization. So we are building out a new community program, which is going to have very clear quests for the community to participate in. And essentially what you can do is you log into this platform once it's built, and you'll be able to see what quests are available as a community member for you to kind of go in and spread the word and participate a little bit. And so I think that's something that's going to be really fun because there's almost a gaming or game aspect to it, right? Where you want to collect these different quests and participate and earn the rewards. And so again, we're building that out and we should have it up soon. We're looking at probably later this month for a release date on that. And then, in addition to that, we also have the ambassador program, which is currently undergoing review. That's something that I'm also really excited for as well, because having, clear points of contact for the project, people who are passionate about it. We really want to give the people who are most passionate about UnUniFi the largest stage for them to kind of feel successful in spreading the world. Again, we want to enable, the most active or the most passionate users to kind of be able to participate. So that's something I'm also really excited for. And again, we'll be posting updates as we go for the new community program. Now, I know I've been kind of rambling here a lot and, talking about all these different aspects at the same time, but really, I'd love to open up the floor if you guys had any questions or if you wanted to, ask me anything, please feel free to do so. You could raise your hand here in the voice chat, or you could ask in the general chat. Either works. Okay, Redbridge asks, are we talking about a referral program? In a way, there's going to be a way to incentivize spreading the word, right? So a way we can get users to, kind of create these referrals from a very real aspect. So an example of that would be sharing a tweet about UnUniFi, or getting a friend to join the UnUniFi Discord. Different examples like that. So yeah, in a way, the community program is kind of like a referral program. But again, the main aspect for the community program is to help drive participation, reward the most active community members, reward the most passionate community members, and keep you guys engaged, keep that community atmosphere so that everyone can feel successful here in the Discord, right? So that they can feel welcome and feel like they're part of the community. And we can really get like creative with the types of rewards as well, right? So it's not just limited to like invite people to the Discord or send a tweet, right? Like there's different things that you can do that we could track when it comes to participation, to spreading the word, not only on Discord and Twitter, but even on other platforms. So again, something that's going to be really fun to kind of get people engaged. Yeah, Redbridge says some of us do not want a referral program. I mean, it's not just a referral program. Think of it as a engagement or community-driven program, right? So it's not just measuring how many people you can invite to the Discord, right? There's a metric of actually measuring the quality of your engagement as well, right? Because I could go on Twitter and make 20 different fake Twitter accounts and you know tweet on Unify 20 different times, and is that really useful? Is that kind of like spamming people? Yeah, we don't want to like spam people or force people to join a Discord who are not really interested in the project. But again, we want to reward the people and the community members who are active, who are participating, right? Who are doing all these different aspects where maybe you're creating content for UnUniFi, no different than the current community program that exists right now, where there's aspects of like using social engagement, creating a tutorial for UnUniFi, writing a content post for UnUniFi, right? And that's something that is in the current community program to really drive the value of your participation. So that aspect will stay the same. Yes, Kryptoni just shared the current Medium article describing the community program that's presently active. And so basically it's like that. And like I mentioned earlier, we have the ambassador program, which is currently under review, so that we're doing the candidate selection process for the ambassadors now. I agree. GitHub can be difficult for the non-technically savvy people sometimes. But again, if we can teach people, if I can hop on a voice chat and explain how to use GitHub to the people who don't, then that's what I'm here for. That's what I want you guys to find success in. I don't want anyone to feel like they are unwelcome to say, "Hey, I need assistance in using GitHub," for example, right? Feel free to send me a direct message on Discord as well. I'm on here 12 hours a day, and so I would welcome you guys to come into my direct messages and chat with me or ask me a question, right? Maybe you have feedback and maybe you don't want to share it in the feedback channel or something like that, or you just want to open a conversation. My direct messages are open for that as well. The results for June? No, I don't think they have been completed yet. Rome. Or Romero. Yeah, today's the 1st, so it would be rollover into the new month. Or at least today's July 1st for me. I don't Some of you might be calling in from different time zones, so nice. All right, like I said, I'm here in New York, so on the East Coast, it is currently 10:30 a.m. over here, 10:34. I know for some of you, it's probably later in the afternoon or evening even. But yeah, no, I'll keep the chat open for a little bit. If any of you come up with any questions for me or about the project. But yeah, no, it was a pleasure chatting with you guys so far. I'm really excited to talk to more of you guys, learn a little bit more about the community. Yeah, Gravity Bridge is going to be the bridge chain from Cosmos to Ethereum. So yes, most likely that'll be used in order to support Ethereum natively. Right, especially when it comes to NFTs that are built on the Ethereum blockchain, right? So any of our ERC, ERC 721. Kryptoni says, curious about the when. That is a big problem. I'm interested for your perspective to see why you consider that a big problem. Generally speaking, the larger scale projects tend to take about at least 6 quarters to create a very functional user project. And so from a development cycle perspective, that's not very long, but from a end user perspective, people tend to, not have the same, timeline, I would say, that it takes developers to create something. So like for example, if you look at the different development cycles, right? There's different cycles in which you create a project that's in alpha, right, beta. But beyond that, there's actually additional considerations to make as well, right? And that's not even, I'm not talking about marketing or anything, but like, for example, from a development perspective, when you're looking at kind of like the long-term timeline, there's a technical term called the MVP, which stands for minimum viable product. Sorry. So the minimum viable product is once your project has exited alpha and completed its beta, right? At the end of your beta testing for an MVP, you finally at that stage have a minimum viable product. And essentially at that time, what you're doing is you're refining your beta project to learn about new user adoption rates. So that's a learning stage, right? And essentially it's getting new users to test and try out the product to learn about its viability. So it's not even an adoption phase for the product, it's a learning phase. And this is normal to many large-scale development projects as well. And so when you look at a timeline for that, right, an alpha on a product might take, 3, 6, etc. months. And then your beta testing phase might last another 6 months. And during this timeline, any early adopters, what they're actually doing is they're providing that new user feedback. So oftentimes what you find is that the early users for a product or project are not the same as like the end users, right? We said we cannot use NFT features fully if NFT bridge is not supported. No, Ethereum-based NFTs will definitely be supported by the platform, right? So, you should have no issue importing over, for example, an ETH-based NFT. But anyway, in terms of timeline, right? So, in terms of like when, big problem about this project. So anyway, one of the things to consider is like, if you've used a major platform or swap or product, generally speaking, once that product is at public release ready stage, you were not in the early alpha stage. You were not an early alpha user, right? Generally speaking, you didn't hear about these. And, there are exceptions, but generally speaking, you didn't really hear about like alpha stage. I'm trying to come up with an example that's like widely used. So let's think about like another protocol, like for example, Uniswap protocol, very popular Ethereum-based swap here in the US. Allows algorithm-managed liquidity pools, allows users to deploy their own ERC20 based token. So it's Uniswap. Some of you might be familiar, some of you might not be, if you're not like too invested into the Ethereum ecosystem. That product slash protocol slash project by many users is generally referred to as one of the causes for the big crypto bull run of 2020. And it was this idea that being able to self-delegate and create these tokens on the Ethereum contract was not generally or widely available. And it also allowed users to easily use, trustless wallets, DEXs to participate in cryptocurrency for the first time. And so we saw a massive influx in the crypto world, and also that crypto bull run of 2020. And many people do attribute it to like this protocol in combination with a few other things, but this protocol. Now, this was 2020, but the actual protocol was under development from 2017. So anyone who heard about this protocol in 2017, obviously early alpha stage adopter, etc. But aside from that, the end users were generally speaking not there the entire time, right? So when Uniswap was pre-alpha and then alpha, etc., you know, the end user that the product or project is targeted at isn't there during the alpha stage. And so we're actually really lucky to be here this early into the UnUniFi development process, right? If we fast forward many, many months from now and we look at what the UnUniFi platform might look like as it exits beta, when there's a fully fleshed out UX UI and the platform is easily and widely acceptable, and we start to target regular end users. That's really the main difference. Everyone here right now, early alpha stage, but when you kind of go look at who the target audience is, sometimes that target audience doesn't care about the development phase or anything like that. They just care about a value proposition. Was that phrasing I worked at before? They want to see something actually, useful, right? So if somebody wants to use the UnUniFi platform, that end user probably isn't going to be in the Discord, or at least they probably won't hear about us from the Discord. And I'm talking when we're talking about targeting public users, right? Well, one of the things in marketing is this difference between targeting public end users and then targeting early alpha users or testers or early adopters. Like I said way earlier in AMA, right? With nftfi being this like really fast-paced area of growth in crypto, nftfis is still being adopted. There's still people at NFT NYC, which is the largest NFT-based convention in the world, right? NFT NYC, I think there were something like 400,000 attendees this year, right? One of the largest ever. And I would go up to knowledgeable blue chip holders, people with hundreds of thousands of NFTs in their wallets, and they had not heard about nftfi. A stat that I like to talk about, for example, is like, if you look at our Twitter, right, how many followers does UnUniFi have right now? Let's see, can anyone beat me? No. 25.7 thousand. Openc has 1.7 million followers. So think about how small, how early into the process we are in building out this platform for widespread adoption, for large scale usage for the end users, when our public presence is so tiny, right? We're talking to a tiny fraction of NFT users, of the NFT community. But Openc has 1.7 million followers on Twitter, right? How much traffic does Openc get, right, on a day-to-day basis, right? When we're talking about actual volume, hundreds and thousands, right? Hundreds and thousands of users, right? Another stat that we could look at, for example, is Openc right now. On any day-to-day on Openc, about 40% of their website traffic is from the United States. Now, compare that to what I said earlier about how early on into the process the Cosmos ecosystem is here in the United States, right? How early in terms of adoption rate. where the Cosmos ecosystem, right, which is like true decentralization, that true value in having a sovereign blockchain, is not widespread knowledge here yet. It's not regular, day-to-day knowledge amongst NFT users, and neither is nftfi, right? So this concept of being able to use nftfi features is so brand new. We're so early into the process, when we're talking about being in alpha stage, that if we fast forward what the NFT space will look like 4, 6, 8 months from now, as more and more and more users learn about nftfi and learn about the abilities of UnUniFi, you can kind of see that difference, right? And I know I'm talking to, the most, I guess, passionate members of the community, or whoever could make it today. And, for, I think, a lot of you that are in attendance to the AMA so far, you understand the value of what UnUniFi is building, and you understand the value proposition behind this platform. But, the person right next to you, right, maybe a friend, maybe another NFT, they might not. Another NFT holder might not actually know about this platform. So don't, it's one of the things they say is like, don't assume that the end user is knowledgeable about the product, right? So it would be, irresponsible of us to assume that every NFT holder in the current space actually knows what nftfi is or knows why it's valuable. So that's something, again, goes back to that whole ability to kind of build out the educational aspect and build out that presence, build out that understanding of the value proposition. Like I said, I know I'm going a little bit over time. I tend to ramble a lot, but that's just me. I like to talk, and I like to talk to you guys as well. I want to be a little more, learn a little bit about the community, learn a little bit about you guys, chat with you some more as well. Like I said, my DMs are always open, and I would love to kind of speak to some of you guys, hear from you, learn a little bit more. So definitely, jump in. Feel free to send me a message. Say, hey, let's chat, and I'll be around. If nobody else has any questions, we're getting at the 50-minute mark, so I think now would be a good time to wrap it up. I'll give like a minute for any last minute questions or anything like that, and then we'll head out. Thank you, Redbridge, for jumping in and saying hi. It was a pleasure meeting some of you today, and I'm sure we'll chat again in the future. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it. All right, so I'll wrap it up. It was great talking to you guys. We'll probably do this again soon, so stay tuned. I love talking to you, so we'll probably schedule another one here for you in the upcoming future, and keep posted for any updates from me or from the rest of the core team, and yeah, we'll be in touch. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day or evening, and I'll talk to you soon.